Hello and welcome to the ScatterVolt channel, and today let's go over the best Black Friday deals happening for graphics cards. So the good news is that nearly every single graphics card on the market right now is on a discount, and I can confirm that these are at all-time low prices versus what they were back in October during the Prime Day sale then and the July Day Prime sale. Anyways, I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. If you wanna get straight to all these deals, they will all be linked in the description down below in my pcbuilds.gg links. However, note on the actual web pages themselves, the actual prices may not update on them. So if you feel like a price isn't right, click on it and you may see the actual price of the item that you're looking at in the actual retailer page. Before we get started, I wanna say one, like this video. It's a requirement, you gotta do it. But two, if you are completely brand new to PC gaming and you have no clue what kind of graphics card you want to pick up, I highly suggest you play around with my website gpus.gg, play around with the price slider, what sort of performance you want, the tags, so like if you want this graphics card to do content creation, live streaming, that sort of stuff, you can find your perfect graphics card whenever you click the show me button, and I'll sort you the correct graphics card based off your filters. So if you don't know what graphics card to pick out of this entire deals video, refer to my website gpus.gg. Otherwise, we're gonna start off with Intel, then make our way to AMD, and then Nvidia graphics card deals. Starting out with Intel, as of recording this video, we have not seen any discounts, but 2 months ago, we did see the Intel Arc B570 hit $200 on Amazon on this exact link. Now, whenever this video goes live, this should at least be $200, but I expect it to go below, maybe around $190 for Black Friday, which would be pretty monumental for those of you who need a super budget graphics card, but quite literally don't have any budget above $200 to spend. It'd be a really good 1080p gaming graphics card, but if you could pony up an additional $45, I would look at the Intel Arc B580. So right now, as of recording this video, it is $235 on B&H Photo and Video, and on Amazon and Newegg, I've checked prices on there and those haven't been updated yet, but I would expect them to match this at $235, which would be an excellent budget graphics card deal. The MSRP for this graphics card is $250, and a modest $15 discount in this price range in this day and age, especially given the upcoming DRAM price increases that'll make all these graphics cards more expensive next year, is a good buy, I think. Especially if you want entry-level 1440p gaming performance, not the highest end, but without completely blowing out your bank account. I've tested this graphics card on my $800 gaming PC, and it did just as I expected, which is giving you really good 1080p gaming performance and also entry-level 1440p gaming performance on most games. Now moving on to AMD, we have the RX 9060 XT 8GB, which as of recording this video has not shown the discounted price that I expected to match, which is going to be $250, which we saw just last week on Amazon on this exact Gigabyte RX 9060 XT graphics card listing. So a 9060 XT 8GB for $250 is also a very compelling buy. Versus the B580 that I just covered, this will outperform it in 1080p and in a few games at 1440p. Just the only thing I caution you with this graphics card is that it does have 8 GB of VRAM. However, at $250, I would not be complaining. If you're in a situation where VRAM isn't a concern, this has just about the exact same performance as the more expensive RX 9060 XT 16 GB. So if you're just gonna be playing at 1080p, which is gonna be mostly esports games and modern PC games that aren't too graphically taxing, this for $250 will be a better buy than the B580. But if you want something more well-rounded with more VRAM, the B580 for $235, also a good buy. You can't go wrong with either. What you can go wrong with though is the RTX 5050 and 5060, which we will be covering in a little bit. Speaking of on AMD, moving up, we have the RX 9060 XT 16 GB. This for $340 right now, as of recording this video, is fine, but there is a better graphics card deal than this for only about $30 more. However, on the actual date of Black Friday, this could go down even more than price. Because if the RX 9060 XT 8GB is going to hit $250, this should hit $300, but I won't know until this video goes live. But if it does, I'll make sure those links in the description down below are updated. And this for $300, I would not be complaining. It's even better for 1440p gaming, and I tested it in my $1,000 gaming PC, and I had no complaints. Just a really great value 1440p gaming GPU that can do all the things, including ray tracing, because RX 9000 made a lot of improvements in ray tracing performance, especially in comparison to Nvidia. Now then, moving up to the RX 9070. Right now, as of recording this video, we have the 9070 at $520 on Newegg. Nothing's happened yet on Amazon. This at $520 might be the best price we see the RX 9070. However, it could dip as low as $500, which I have my theory for that coming up in a little bit. But this right now at $520 is a good deal for a graphics card that will do 95% of any of the PC gaming you'd possibly want to do. I tested a graphics card very similar to this in my $1,200 gaming PC, and I ended that video with basically saying, this is all the performance you ever need. I don't see the point in spending any more than an RX 9070 or the 5070 that we used in that video. So yeah, this at $520, no complaints. Extremely good deal for a very capable 1440p gaming graphics card. However, the big question, how cheap is the RX 9070 XT going to be? Well, right now, as of recording this video in the late hours of Thanksgiving, all the prices for it are showing at MSRP $600, but just a few hours ago, the 9070 XT on centralcomputers.com is $550. That is no joke. Here it is at $550, and there's another model going for $580, an ASRock Steel Legend model on the same website. So Central Computers right now could be springing a little bit early on their Black Friday deals for these graphics cards, which only means I expect Amazon and Newegg to match or get close to these prices. Which is to say, we could see the 9070 XT at $550 right now. If it is, I'll have it linked in the description down below, but that would be probably the best deal out of this entire video, because that graphics card is way too fast for its price. It's way too fast for 1440p. I tested it in my $1,500 gaming PC and I said it was too much. It can basically do 4K gaming most of the time as well. It's a ridiculously fast graphics card, and for $50 off, it's a no-brainer. If the 9070 is within $30 to $50 of a $550 9070 XT, there is no point in getting the 9070, get the 9070 XT. This will be fan-flippin-tastic and will set you straight for many years to come. I think the only thing holding you back will be actually getting one, because they're probably gonna go out of stock really fast. Now moving on to Nvidia. Some of these deals are really good, and some of them are mild. One of those being the RTX 5050 right now for $220. Historically, when it comes to Black Friday and Nvidia, those two things don't really mix. Nvidia is usually allergic to reducing their graphics card prices. However, this year, they've actually been fairly open to it. However, for the 5050, it doesn't matter how cheap this graphics card is. An Intel Arc B580 for only $15 more than this is going to be much more worth your dollar. It'll come with more VRAM, a lot more processing performance, and this 5050 is just simply underpowered for $220. And even if it were below 200 bucks, it's gonna be contesting with the Intel Arc B570. So this is not gonna be it for Black Friday. Avoid the 5050 for Black Friday. Same will most likely have to go for the RTX 5060. I've always been observing the 60 series during Black Friday, whether it was the 3060 or the 4060, and these things, despite having an MSRP of $300, never ever go below 280. This is going to be the lowest we're going to see the 5060 for all of Black Friday, and this graphics card really ought to have more VRAM. That is the only complaint that I have with it. The 9060 XT 8GB at $250 gets a slight pass from me, even with that $30 discount over this, but this at 280 doesn't make sense because the RX 9060 XT is going to be within striking range of this from anywhere from $30 to $50, and that'll be more worth picking up than this 5060, unless you're someone who does a lot of esports PC gaming. So Valorant, League of Legends, Counter-Strike 2, Marvel Rivals, and you need really high frame rates on games at 1080p, and you aren't too worried about running games at the maximum graphics settings for a AAA release, like Grand Theft Auto 6 when that thing eventually comes out. So 5060, not really. Not gonna be it for Black Friday. What I find interesting though right now is the 5060 Ti 8GB right now on Newegg. This with a $20 off promo is $310. Now, this could be okay. This could be an okay deal. However, let me show you the RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes. I actually just bought this graphics card. It says $450, but this graphics card has been seen going for $370 quite a bit in the last week. So when this video goes live, I expect this GPU to be $370 on the mark, which if you're gonna spend the extra 60 bucks for that extra 8 gigabytes of VRAM, it might be worth it. Because this at $370 could even be a better deal than the RX 9060 XT if it doesn't see a greater discount from its $340 price. So at 1440p in this mid-range, this might be my ideal candidate for a graphics card that is below $400, but not anywhere close to the behemoths we'll see with the 5070 and 9070 being around $500. So this at $370 is a really good deal. And this graphics card is probably not going to be produced for that much longer if the DRAM issues persist going into 2026. Now for the RTX 5070, I'm surprised, but out of all the Nvidia graphics cards in this video, I didn't expect this one to go on a discount, but it actually has, even the day before Black Friday. This at its lowest could be pad for $510 with a rebate card, but we saw earlier this month that you could get this graphics card for $480 with a rebate card. So on the day of Black Friday, I think we're gonna see many 5070s available for $500 on the mark. I consider that maybe not the best deal, because in the light of that $500 5070, you're gonna get a RX 9070 that's gonna be about the same price. And this has more VRAM, more computational performance, and the same amount of ray tracing performance. So unless the 5070 goes for well below $500, which I don't expect it to, this is not gonna be a hot pickup for Black Friday. I would take the RX 9070 for about the same price over this. But now we gotta talk about the 5070 Ti. This is in an interesting spot because the 5070 Ti was seen earlier last week for $700 on the dot. But right now, as of recording this video, it is $750. And I very much expect many 5070 Ti's to be on sale for $700 on the mark. Although Micro Center is putting a few up for $680, which would be an all-time low price. However, that $550 RX 9070 XT deal that we could see when this video goes live at $550 would be too enticing even over this 5070 Ti discount. Just being that low of a price for that much power of a graphics card would sway me to get that over a 5070 Ti for 700 bucks. That said, if you wanted Nvidia's most complete graphics card, in my opinion, when it comes to hardware, performance, and value of the hardware that you're getting, the 5070 Ti is a very well-rounded graphics card. So if you needed something again, like what I just mentioned, but also can do CUDA core applications, 3D modeling, a little bit more creativity and content creation focused stuff. And we might actually see a discount on the RTX 5080, which I'm not the biggest fan of. It recently hit a price of $950 on Walmart, but last month it hit a price of $930 on the same platform. So I think we're gonna see a 5080 at $900 right on the dot for Black Friday, which would be all right if you wanted something faster than the 5070 Ti, knowing that RTX 50 Super Series is going to be delayed and possibly plagued with memory production issues because of increasing DRAM prices. Then, you know, the 5080 is here. It's gonna be on discount. You're probably not gonna find this graphics card below $1,000 again after this year. So if you want it, feel free to take it. Although I think the 5070 Ti and 9070 XT are much more worth your dollar. I also checked, there's not really any good deals on the RX 7900 XTX. Not really. Although if there are any good deals, I'll be sure to update the links in the description down below. And if finishing off with a 5090, ain't no way this thing is gonna be close to MSRP tomorrow. Probably the lowest I expect it to be is around $2,300, which is not gonna be worth it for gamers, but possibly worth it for professionals who need that much VRAM and that much memory bandwidth for your professional applications. And there you have it. Those are all the Black Friday deals for the entire graphics card lineup for 2025. A lot of good deals, some not so much as the others, but when I publish this video, some new deals could come up. So I will be updating the description of this video with all the latest links for all these graphics cards to make sure we get the best deals possible. because it's gonna get way worse after this with increasing DRAM prices in 2026. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and this is the ScatterVolt channel, signing out.